beginning stages and everybody's making mistakes, but I see we are making progress.
Was the extra consent form, is that a federal regulation in Canada, or was it institutional? Each institution had their own policies.
So I was there before also the HIPAA, like in Canada, where they just collected. They didn't ask. And so initially that tumor bank began, you know, the PI in charge of that was a surgeon and very active in research and realized he needs tissue, right? And so he would just collect, and of course there was a stop on that. And then it was a tissue banking IRB that covered everything. And so you didn't need, so when you were filling out an IRB for a research project, you would just show that there's IRB for tissue banking. So and that covered it.
And the IRB would be, each hospital had their own IRB.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But I think now that network is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, especially as the hospitals are, you know, they're joining forces. It's not just, it's now Universal Health Network, which under that umbrella lies, you know, for, you know, major hospitals. So it's really well streamlined down there, or up there.
Well, we face a lot of challenges, without any question. You know, some of us are not blessed and we have some form of cancer, and that's the way it is. But we also have to really be sharing, collaborating, and supporting one another. And some of our program tomorrow, I think, is kind of very much in that direction, which is that we are having a workshop on caregivers. Because that's something that I felt from, you know, the beginning, you know, 18 years of being a caregiver. What I can say is it's very universal, and whether it's one cancer or another, or one chronic disease or another, there's all the same kinds of challenges. And that's really what has led us, thanks to Michelle, to the Rosalind Carter Institute. And they seem to be very interested in collaborating with us, and we hope we'll be able to, you know, develop a relationship. But what we will have tomorrow is a workshop where we'll have some of the caregiver booklets, which I know Michelle already has, but which we'll be making available to all of our attendees tomorrow. Because caregiving and the caregiver is often forgotten in the whole equation. So that will be part of it. We will also have a workshop where we'll be talking about disparities in cancer. And since we've had, you know, such a wonderful relationship that we've been developing, and I just want Fred to say hello and tell him who you are, because you really were part of what got us going on all of this. In fact, you were. It's all his fault.
Sorry for being late, but I had to call to another meeting at the last moment. My name is Fred Hubbard. I'm the Executive Director for the Advisory Council on Indian Healthcare. We used to call it the Governor's Council on Indian Healthcare. More or less, it's just developed into the Advisory Council. I work with all 22 tribes in the state on their healthcare problems, and I visited all but 2 of the tribes in the state now. On top of the list is behavioral health problems. Cancer's third on the list of their problems. So it's working its way up. And working with the tribes, there's continued questions about the mortality when I meet with the tribal leaders and attend some of their people's funerals. And it's quite devastating to see the deaths and the remains of the people that you do know, or they know, and they're just not recognizable anymore. And I'm continually asked by the leaders what's causing this. And the more I become involved with it, exactly what Barbara has talked about, is that there is a realm of information and resources, but it's just not being connected. And sad to say, I'm starting to engage this in a fashion. It's very uncomfortable because on one hand, I have tribal people asking for help. I have organizations, service organizations of all kinds, wanting to help. And they're doing what they have to because of their resources, which really drive what they're doing. And they're not meeting what the tribes are asking for because they're being driven by some other objective. And so they're not contacting. And because of that, the territorialism that happens, the service doesn't get delivered. And there just doesn't seem to be the information that's needed for the basic needs of what needs to happen in rural Arizona. How do you navigate the system? Who are the contacts? Where do you get this information? How do I, as a patient, as a caregiver, as a relative, as a doctor, get this information? It's here, but it's not being put in a fashion that can be usable, accessible to everybody that needs to have it. And believe me, as I said, it's very uncomfortable when I encounter this, because on one hand, I'm trying to help the population, on the other hand, the other people, you're being disruptive in the fashion that you're trying to move things forward, and all we're trying to do is make the system work. That's all that needs to happen, is make the system work. Terrific amount of dollars are being consumed. But all I'm asking is please try to make them more effective if we can. Thank you.
Thank you. It's really important. And Victor, you came in, and I wanted you to introduce yourself too.
Yeah, I apologize for coming late. I actually just came from Salt Lake City, so I flew in and I came here directly, so I apologize for being late. My name is Victor Carrasco. I'm the Patient Services Manager for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, the chapter here in Phoenix, which covers all of Arizona and all of Utah. So thank you for being here. We're actually collaborating tomorrow's conference with Barbara, and we're very happy. So thank you, Tim, for all the information. I just came in the middle of your presentation, and as you know, we're very involved with you guys as well. So I'm looking forward to listening to everybody's views on things, specifically Fred's. I appreciated some of the things that we're actually facing as well. Talking about that gap of connection, and I think we do see that from an organization from ours at least. We're so isolated in Phoenix itself to the rural community, so that's an effort that we're also trying to do, is to come out to the rural areas and connect a little bit more.
And again, I want to point this out as another, I think, major step, is that, Victor, as part of Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, has really reached out to us. We started having this dialogue, just about a year, well, actually, last year, we had a display. But again, the important thing is, LLS has a great deal to offer. They have great resources. We are not a large organization. We don't have the booklets. We don't have the kind of information that's very critical. But we have the contact with a lot of the people. And us working together has been much more efficient from many, many standpoints. Thanks to their wonderful mailing process and emailing process, we've been able to reach out to so many more people. Fred was smiling when he came in. He said, I think we have 165 signed up for tomorrow. And I said, I think it was still going up. I don't even know. I left the house because I was still at the computer, printing out the latest list. And I just went, oh, forget it. We'll get it tomorrow. But that is really great. When the first conference we had, which was 3 years ago, I think we had 50 people. And then last year we got up to 80, I think. And I think tomorrow we really will have 150 or 160 people. And what I'm really very excited about is we have people coming from all over the state. We have many different populations coming. We recently got a new volunteer, Yariela Canoni, who is from Honduras and Spanish speaking. She'll be talking with Victor. And she got to speak to Univision yesterday, and she translated our conference material into Spanish. So we're really finally doing part of what I have wanted to do from the beginning, which is reach out to all people with myeloma. And then I always add a comma, cancer. And the point is that I think we're beginning to move in that direction. And it seems very slow, but one of the achievements for Victor and I is we were able to also help. In other words, you achieved your mandate, which is having one of the doctors